Hello, and welcome to part two of our Reports Masterclass. In this webinar, we'll take a look of how reports can supercharge your training and give admins the insights they need to steer your training strategy in the right direction. I'm Irini. I'm a senior customer enablement consultant, and I will be hosting this session live alongside with my good colleague, Danny.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I'm Danny, I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Talent LMS, and today we're going to be diving into reports, as Irini said, so get ready for a masterclass in reporting.
Thank you, Danny. And before we dive in, just a quick reminder, this webinar is being recorded and you will receive the recording by email once it wraps up. So feel free to share it with your team. And of course, we're also running a live Q&A throughout the session. Anastasia and Yanis will be answering your questions behind the scenes, and we'll also tackle some of them live. In order to ask a question, just use the Q&A button in your meeting controls. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, this is part two of the masterclass in reports. In part one, Anastasia and Corina walked you through on reports that learners and instructors have access to. Part one is already posted on our webinar page. The link will be shared through the chat at the moment. So let's see what we will be exploring together with Dani in part two. Let's check the agenda for today. So first up, we'll dive into the ready-made reports that admins can tap into right away. Then we'll show you how to build your own custom reports to quickly zero in on exactly what you need. And to wrap things up, we'll explore the training matrix, an awesome tool that helps admins track growth and visualize progress like a pro. So let me jump in right away in my platform. As you can see, I'm already logged in as an admin. And before I dive you into the reports, let's check a little bit of the administrator's dashboard. As you can see, apart from the widget with the quick actions, we have some metrics here. So right away, when an administrator is logging in, they can check some metrics and have a general idea of how the progress within the platform goes. So there is a widget with some overview metrics like the active users, assigned courses, the training time and the completion rate, or how many groups. Then there's a widget in bars with the portal activity, logins, and course completions. A pie chart here with the distribution of the different roles we have in our system. And then a half donut chart with the course progress within the portal, and of course, a timeline. Now, these metrics include the entire portal's metrics. So whether you're working with branches or groups or both, this is a general idea of what is happening in your portal at the moment. And of course, this is something that you can customize. So if you click the customize button here and click the edit mode, you can rearrange the positioning like this. And of course, you can decide of what would be the widgets that you would like to check right away when you are, accessing your portal. Just click the save button, and now we have a brand new dashboard here. Now, the reports button is here, dedicated button where you can explore all the data that you have. And right away, we have the overview tab. And of course, the metrics that you see here are similar to, are exactly the same, basically, to the dashboard that we just checked. So we have the overview with active users, never logged in users, assigned courses, and completed courses. A widget with the learning structure, how many courses we have, with how many categories we're working at the moment, how many branches and groups. Of course, the donut chart with the progress, course progress, and the activity log. And you might be wondering, how can I have access in this entire report with all this data? Well, there is the button here, the training progress, which you will click it, and the system will export the file and send it to your email address. Now, as admins, you're responsible for every aspect of the site. Therefore, you can oversee all the information. And I have an example of this training progress report. I'm going to bring that in here right away. So this is what you will receive, the overview tab with some metrics here, the training progress, a detailed report of all the users and their exact progress within the system, courses, users, and the timeline. So this is what you get when you download this report. Now, in part one, we've discussed how we can download the reports. The export button, you will find it in every report we will demonstrate here as well. And right next to the export button, you will always see this little arrow here, which will lead us to the schedule functionality. This is the functionality that will save you time in case you want to follow up reports periodically. So instead of jumping in Talent LMS, let's say every 3 weeks, on a Wednesday, you can simply set up this frequency, click the schedule button, and the system will basically send this report to you. And of course, the schedule functionality gives us also the opportunity to share those data with other users, basically with other colleagues of that you may have, which they don't need to have Talent LMS accounts. And you can easily add their emails in this area here, and they will receive the report, this report as well. Just a quick note, they will be in a BCC status, so no one will be aware who else is receiving this report. And of course, if you decide to work with custom recipients and you also want to receive this report, just make sure to add your email in this area here. So let's check the ready-made reports, and I'm going to start with the users reports. So when we click the users reports, the first thing we will see, it takes some time to load, will be here on the top some metrics that will include all the users in your system, no matter where they live, whether they're in the main domain or in a branch. And of course, from the list of users, you can check some information like the user type, when they last logged in, how many assigned courses and completed courses they have. And of course, if you have enabled the gamification, you can also check the points, the badges, and the level they have reached. Now, this is a list that you can definitely download as a CSV file in case you need it. And of course, this funnel here will allow you to filter based on status. So you can check all the active or all the inactive accounts. And you can also filter by branch or by group in case you want to narrow down the results to check this list. Now, a user report will look like this. So I'm just going to access Alexander here from the preview button. There is the overview tab where we will have some widgets with the overview and metrics for that particular user, the activity in a bar, the half donut chart with that user's progress in courses, and the achievements of the user, an overview here, the certificates and the badges. And of course, from the overview, you can also click here and check where that user ranks on the actual leaderboard. The export button and the schedule button available. And if we explore the rest of the tabs through the courses tab, we can check some metrics for that particular user in totals. And there will be a detailed list of all the courses that user has been enrolled to, with details like the progress status, the score they have achieved for the completed courses, enrollment and completion dates, and the time they spend within that course. Of course, if I hover in its course, I have the option to check how the score is being calculated. Let me check. Does that user has any completed courses? No, not yet. There is one, but he hasn't achieved any score. And of course, from here, you can also change the units progress, something that was demonstrated in part one as well. You can manage the completion of certain units within that particular course for that user. You can reset the progress or complete units on that user's behalf. Moving on into the learning activities, again, you can check all the scores and the assignments and the tests that that user has attempted, and some metrics here on the top in total. And again, for each learning activity, the type, the course name, completion dates, progress status, score, and training time. And of course, if I hover, I can either reset the progress for the completed learning activities or hit the complete button and complete that learning activity on user's behalf. Next, we have the badges. Now, the badges depend on how the gamification has been set up by the admins. In our portal, we have selected to work with the learning and the test badges. That's why you only see these two categories here. And of course, the colored badges will indicate the ones that the user has obtained. The rest in gray are the rest to get. And of course, the certificate tab that will allow the admins to check the list of all the certificates that user has received with the issue date and the expiration. And of course, the admin can download or preview that certificate, delete it, or share it in LinkedIn. And last but not least, the timeline of that particular user with timestamps on every action that is related with that user as well. Now, going back to the list of the ready-made reports, let's check the courses. We will not elaborate a lot about the courses because these have been demonstrated by Anastasia in part 1 in detail. The only note that I have for you here to take away is that since we are admins and we can oversee everything and we are also in charge of branches, from the funnel here, instead of groups, we can also filter based on the branch level when it comes into the list of course reports we see here. As you all know, courses are, can be shared within multiple groups and branches. So from here, the admins can narrow down the results easier. But just to give you a quick preview, clicking on this course reports, again, we have the overview with the widgets, the users tab with a list of users and their details like the progress status and completion dates, the learning activities of that particular course, the unit matrix, which is the report that we can quickly check what is the progress within the course at the moment for each particular user. And of course, the timeline report, which is the timeline of the course. And from the overview tab, export and schedule the reports. Now, let's move on to branches. Now, the administrators have access to branch reports. They can check how the users are progressing within the individual branches. Again, from this page, you can see some metrics in totals here on the top. And for each branch, some information like the assigned users and the completion rate. And if we access, let's say, a branch, let's go on this one. We have the overview tab where we can check the overview of these brands in metrics like the completion rates, courses that haven't been started or courses that are in progress, the activity of logins and course completions, the have done charts with the course progress within the brands, and another widget here that will give us the courses with the highest completion rate. So from here, you can check the most popular courses, let's say. Export and schedule button available here. From the list of users, you can see the list of users that are members, let's say, of these brands with their user type and when they last logged in. And of course, from this button here, you can check in detail the user report. So this works like a shortcut for you. You don't need to go back to users to find out. The courses that are members of this branch as well with assigned users, assigned learners, completed learners, and again, the preview button that will lead us into the course report and the actual timeline of this branch. Now, when we download this report, and let me just download it right now on the spot and open it up for you, there's a slight difference when it comes into the overview tab. Now, from the overview tab, you can see those metrics in here and the bars. But when we actually download the report, it looks like this. So when it comes into courses and users and the timeline, the data are exactly the same, but the overview tab will give you the information for each user that is member of this branch, how is progressing with each branch course. So at any moment, at any point, you can check how the user is doing with those courses. So even if you schedule the reports, you will always be up to date. Similar to branches, Let's go to group reports. They work exactly the same, but they're on a group level. Again, the metrics here that will give you totals when it comes into the groups, and the list of groups, the group reports, you can find them here with some information about the assigned users, the completion rate. And if we click on a group report, let's click this one, we can see the overview tab with metrics, the overview metrics here, courses in progress, the activity widget with bars about the logins and the completions. I have done it chart with the course progress, and again, the courses with the highest completion rate, export and schedule button available, the users that are members of this group, the user type and when they last logged in, and again, the shortcut to get you into the user report, courses with the courses that are members of this group, assigned learners, completed learners, and the shortcut to get you to that course report, and the timeline. Now, I'm not going to download the group report, but it works exactly the same way like the branch report, the downloaded form of this report. The overview tab will show you the exact progress of each user in every group course. Last but not least, before I pass the mic to Danny, the learning activities. If you have watched part one, through the learning activities reports, we can check all the tests, all the scores, all the assignment reports, all the ILT reports, all these reports that are connected with the learning activity units we're adding in our courses. The difference here is that, again, the admin who can oversee everything through the funnel, they can also filter apart from type and groups, they can also filter by brands as well. So again, if you want to narrow down the results and you're looking for a very certain learning activity, you can definitely filter by brands as well. And as you can see, we have the name of that learning activity, the type, the course name, metrics like the completed users, the in progress, not attempted, and of course the average score. And if we get into a learning activity, let's go in this one, for example, you can see the overview tab. This is a test. If yes, this is definitely a test. So we have the metrics here with the overview, the activity bar, and the unit success rate. Have done a chart, expert and schedule available. The list of users that have been enrolled in this course, and you can check if they have attempted or not that test, and if they have passed it or not, and what was the score. Now, through here, the little icon will give you in detail how they replied in those test questions in detail. And of course, from here, you can also check the submission history, and the test analysis for this test report will give you the distribution of answers. Of course, this is not a very good example. We only had one question. It was a test, let's say. But you know how this works. Anastasia has also demonstrated that in detail, so you can also go back and check in part one and the timeline of the actual test. And I think that that is all from my end. So let's pass the mic to Danny so he can introduce us to the custom reports. Danny, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Irini. I'm just going to share my screen with you now. So, Irini has expertly led us through so far the system-generated reports that we can find inside of Talent LMS. The great thing about Talent LMS is that we have a special feature which we haven't explored yet, which is called the custom reports. Now, what's really special about the custom reports is it allows us to determine what kind of data we want by setting our own rules. So we're going to dive into the world of custom reports now. Important to mention that custom reports are exclusive to admins on Grow plans and higher. So if you are an admin on a Grow plan higher, you should have access to the custom reports. Now, how do I access my custom reports? We can do it in two ways. You can go to your report section over here and click on the custom report option. Or if you've added the custom reports as a shortcut to your quick actions, we can click it from here. So let's go in through the shortcut. And once that happens, we should be able to see the custom reports loading. We see some kind of a message here. Let me try and reload that. Apologies there. Let me see if I can reload that. If I go back home to reports, that should. Okay, we have some kind of an issue there. So
Danny, if you
yeah,
refresh, this will fix the issues. Just apologies. It's a training platform, so we have
okay.
people attempting some stuff in the background. Apologies for that.
No worries, Irini to the rescue. So we have the custom reports there. On your platform, you should be just fine to access it that way. Now, if you have created custom reports before, you will see them listed down here. But today we're going to create some new custom reports for ourselves. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on Add Report over here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give the report a name. So I just want to have something very quick that I can easily identify. So I'm sure you'll come up with something a lot better than my name. And the next thing we need to do, we need to specify what kind of custom report we want to generate. You can choose from two. We have a report for specific users, or we have a report that's based on learning progress. If you want to generate a report for specific users, this is more focused on general user data, things like logins, number of courses that they have enrolled into, for example, very general data that we see. Now, if you want some course-related data, you can always generate a learning progress report. This will show us stuff like progress in specific courses, average scores, for example, this kind of thing. Both are valid and both can help us to drive the data in the way that we want to. So I'm going to create both today. I'm going to create a specific users report first, and then we're going to revisit and create a learning progress report. So I've selected specific users. Now we can begin building our rule set. How many rules can I have? We can have up to 5 rules in our custom report. Very important to keep in mind there. And when I click on my rule here, this gives us the different variations of rules that we have. As you can see, there are many different scenarios, and we can use a combination of these in order to build our custom report. So I'm going to go very simple. I'd like to first of all determine my users that belong to a branch. Okay, and I'm going to search inside of my Spanish branch first. As you can see, we also have the option here to add additional branches to this rule. Okay, so I'm going to add the internal branch as well. And by doing this, I've now created an OR rule. Okay, so this custom report, it will look for users that belong to my Spanish branch or my internal branch. Very important to keep that in mind, that having these two branches listed here creates this OR rule. Now, let's say you wanted to create a custom report that has users in both of the branches, okay, that they definitely belong to both branches. What we would do here is I can just remove the internal one. I can create another rule, belong to branch again, and this time I can add internal, okay, and this creates an AND rule, okay, so every new line, every new rule you're creating here is creating an AND condition to your custom report. So keeping that in mind, this is how we can build, connect our rules to drive the data that we want to. Okay, so just for today's demonstration, I'm going to delete this rule. I just want to, for now, go with the OR rule here. I also want to select users that belong to a group. And again, you can follow the same logic here. I want this time for my users that belong to mandatory training. And if you notice there, in each rule, if you begin typing some specific keywords, it's going to figure out what kind of rule you're looking for as well. Just makes it that little bit more easier for you when you're setting up your rules. So we've got 2 rules. Let's go for a third one. Maybe I want my report to focus only on a specific type of user in my LMS. So we have a very nice one here, have the user type, and I can specify from the user types I have created. So I'm going to go for learner types. So my report is only going to have now learner types in that report. Let's add another rule. I also want my users to be active. Okay, I want to make sure that the users returned are active. So I've started typing active here and it's clocked on to what I want to add there. So we have 4 rules, room for one more. Let's go for another one. Let's go. for this one, users that have signed up within a period of time. So here we can select a specific period of time, or we can do the last X days. Let's do the last couple of weeks as well. So now we've built the custom report rules as we want to. One final thing before we finalize the report, we can also specify the output. These are essentially the columns that will display in our custom report, displaying our information. And as you notice, you have the option to remove columns and apply whichever columns you have from the ones available. So let's say I want to get rid of the registration date here. If I click into the box here, it comes up with the additional columns I can use. So maybe I want to know which branches and maybe which groups my users belong to. So I'll just add them. And then we click Save, and that should generate our report and return our users. So here we have our users based on the rules we've set. Um, and then we can start interacting with them. I'm going to jump into the mass actions and the scheduling and the exporting in a moment when I create my second report, so no worries there. I just wanted to show you how we can create a specific users report before we move on. Now, the great thing about custom reports is that once this is created, if I click back into my custom reports, you can see that it's saved here. So whenever you need a snapshot of live data captured from the custom report, you can always find the report you've created, and it will always give you that live data based on the rules that you set up before. And even better, if I jump back, you can always preview, run the reports, and even clone these reports as well. So let's say you want to create this report, but let's say you want to add some different courses this time or specify some different branches, but you have this template already. You can clone this report and you can start working with your predetermined rules in there, so you don't need to set everything up from scratch again. Very handy if if you've created like a nice template for a custom report. Always nice to have that. And of course, you can always go back and edit these reports at any time, and you can delete them as well if they're no longer needed. So let's go in very quickly and add a new report because I did promise you a learning activities report. So let's do that as well. This time we're going to select learning progress. For this, we have an additional step here. We just need to let the system decide, okay, for our rules. We just select this here. And then again, the same thing. We can go in and start building our rules. I'm going to keep this very simple. Let's say that you would like to have a report for your compliance training to monitor how your users are doing in your compliance training. Um, this is a great rule to use. We can use the rule have started but not completed a course. Okay, very often our users open up a course, but perhaps they kind of get stuck or they don't move on, and we need to know where they are in the course, especially if they're important compliance courses or they're mandatory courses. For this example, I'm just going to look at my social media and marketing course over here. And again, the same logic applies for our output section. We can include the different columns here. And you'll notice that these columns, because we're a learning progress report, they're more focused on the course activity themselves. Okay, so you have some columns here on average score, for example, which we can add in, for example, here. You've got things like certificate expiration, remaining time. So if you want to go ahead and add that in, you can also add in your extra columns there. Again, focused more on the course data than the general data we saw before. And with that, we're ready to run the report again. So if we click on Save, this has returned all of my users that have started the course because we're at 0% here and they haven't moved on. So this is, again, a great way to, again, drive the data that you want to and get the results that you need. Now, Custom Reports has another special feature, which I mentioned a few moments ago, which is mass actions. This is a great tool. Once you've taken the data, you can use the mass actions to perform actions on all of the users that have been returned from the report. So let's say you want to send these users a message, an email, for example. You can send them all an email in bulk to remind them that they need to complete the compliance training. For example, let's say you need to deactivate these users because they're no longer needed in the platform or delete them, for example. Or maybe you want to go and add them to a branch or a new group, or maybe you want to unenroll them from the course entirely. There are so many different options there. And it just gives you this extra admin tool that can really help with things like housekeeping of your platform, looking after things, reorganizing. If you've just run a quick custom report before, quite often you can take advantage of these of these mass actions to sort users where you want to put them. Okay, so a great extra feature there that goes hand in hand with the data. Now, I want to just quickly bring up a question here that I saw in the Q&A. It came from Maria. Maria was asking about the scheduling of the reports. I think this is a good time to mention it because you can also export and schedule custom reports to be run. Just to clarify, when scheduling custom reports, these can be scheduled weekly or monthly. Okay, so you can determine each week, every couple of weeks, months, and you can also determine the specific day as well, just to clarify that in case you were wondering how often you can schedule these reports.
Danny, I have the sense that you're not done with the custom reports yet. Am I right? Do you have tips to share?
Irini, your Jedi senses are very tuned in today because I do have a couple of extra tips, which I'm very happy to share. So, what we can do is if I go back into this report, what you can do with the output sections in custom reports is you can add in any custom user fields or course fields that you have already created in the system. As you can see here, as I scroll down to the bottom, if you've created custom user fields for date of hire, department, for example, we have created in the system, you can also add these to the report and make them part of the output that is delivered on the system. I'm not sure how much of these are populated as this is a test portal, but just to show you how you can add them. And this also applies for any custom user fields or course fields as well. So if you've created any, you can also add them into the system. And there is also a rule here. If I start typing in value, you can also create a rule that looks for people, for users that have a specific custom field tagged to them. So if you want to create reports based on a specific department, for example, or maybe a report of users that report to a specific manager, for example, you can also set this up as a rule within your custom report. So again, this offers a lot of flexibility and you can really drive the results that you want to from the system using these extra tips here. Okay, so I think we've talked a lot about custom reports, so I'm just going to move on very briskly into the next kind of report that we have available. From the report section, if we go into the training matrix over here, we're going to spend a bit of time talking about that now. You might remember the unit matrix that we talked about in part one of our webinars on report mastery. The training matrix is quite similar to the unit matrix, but it's a much more expanded view. Okay, the training matrix is essentially a snapshot of all of your users' progress in all of the courses in your LMS. So if we take a look at the training matrix here, we can see all of our courses are displayed at the top. And on the left-hand side, we have all of our users displayed as well. And the training matrix is color coded to indicate where our users are in the system. So for example, if we see that it's green, this indicates, of course, that the course has been completed by the users. If if it's orange, this also shows that our users are in progress. And you might also notice here it includes the score, so it also shows you how far along these users are in the courses. You can display them as a percentage, or if you go over here, you can also, if you uncheck that, it also gives you the option to see like a little pie chart that's getting completed there. So you have the option there if you want to go with this kind of graphic, or if you want to add in the percentages, you can see that it varies based on the progress of the user within the course. If the course is not started yet, it's going to appear dark gray. And if the course is light gray, this means that the user doesn't actually have this course yet. They're not currently enrolled into this course. And if you see any red dots anywhere, I can't see anything, but if you see any red dots, this indicates that the user has not passed the course. Okay, so you can use this color coding to your advantage there. I showed you already the way you can do this with the scores. which is a nice touch. Something else you can do if you want to go a bit more deeper, you can use the filter option here to filter by branch or by group, for example. So let's have a look at our vendor supplier branch. This will give us a training matrix just for this branch. So we've got all of the users that belong to the branch and all of the courses as well. Here we can see an example of a user that did not pass the course from the red that's indicated. And what then you can do with this report is you can export into Excel. I'm just going to click that there, and that will download the training matrix. The training matrix looks pretty much the same in the Excel file. You'll see the same layout as presented over here from the graphic. The only thing you need to keep in mind is that when you're filtering by branch or by group and you export this in Excel, it's going to keep the filters applied. However, if you go into the view, if you change the focus, unfortunately, this isn't going to keep in the Excel. So the best thing to do in this case would be to export the training matrix and then filter by the focus that you want to. Okay, but if you want to go ahead and filter by branch and group, absolutely, this is great. I can see I've got no training progress there. But if you go to your vendor supplier, for example, branch, this is a great way to get a snapshot of this branch. And of course, you can export it and you can also schedule it. The great thing about scheduling reports, if you've already scheduled one and you go to schedule one, it's going to tell you, as we can see here, in 3 days' time, our next report is going to run. If you have anything scheduled already, no worries at all. The system's going to let you know when it's coming up as well. And with that, I think I'm going to hand the mic back to Irini because I think Irini has a couple more things to share with you before we dive into our Q&A today. So Irini, the floor is back to you.
Definitely. Danny, your gender senses are also correct. So let me just share my screen. And I only have 2 tips for you today. So the first thing is about the timeline. Now, the timeline is the activity log, let's say, of the entire portal. As you may have noticed from all the reports that I demonstrated, the ready-made ones, each one has their own timeline with timestamps about different activities. So from here, an admin can definitely search for certain activities so they don't need to jump back in and search all the ready-made reports. We have some drop-down menus that will allow you to filter by period. You can specify the event you're looking for. You can also check the timeline of a user simply by typing the letters of their name. And you can also do the same for the course. Just a quick note here, always remember to reset so you can start from scratch. Now, why am I bringing this up to your attention? Because there is a CSV download button in here. So if for some reason you would like to having a form of a report, all the course deletions that you've done in the past or all the user deletions, you can definitely filter. So let's do it right now. Let's search for all the deletions. Let's go for course deletions. And the list that you have here, you can definitely download it in a CSV file and use it for your archives or for reporting reasons. And speaking of deletions, this is extra tip. This is where the admin will go to restore a course or a user deletion. If I hover here, I can undo by clicking the button and restore the information, or I can permanently delete and erase entirely from my portal this particular record. And the second tip is in regards to the dashboard that I demonstrated, that I navigated at the beginning of this webinar. I've talked to you about customizing and rearranging basically the widgets that you see here, but you can do more. For example, the overview metrics, if I click edit, I can have up to 5 different statistics to show in this widget. And of course, I can uncheck. So I'm just going to uncheck the groups and have, let's say, the environmental impact showing up. And I can drag and drop like this and apply. So I have a different type of statistics here. I can do the same thing for the quick actions button as well. So if I click edit, I can also uncheck, let's say, the custom reports and add the add branch option. And again, drag and drop like this and apply. When it comes into the distribution of the roles in your system, if I click edit, I can turn the donut chart into bars and have it like this. Same for the half donut chart. I can also have it in a form of a bar. And again, when it comes into portal activity, instead of bars, I can use the lines. Apply, click save. And now I have a brand new customized dashboard with bars instead of and lines instead of charts and the metrics that I want to check in a glance. And that's the two tips that I have from my end. And I think that it's time to start with our Q&A, Danny. So I have marked some questions that I would like to answer live since I'm already sharing, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Great. So I'm going to start with Frank. Frank is asking, does the exported file also now includes the units inside the course? If yes, thank you. If not, when will that be available? Now, the quick answer on this is no. And I have taken the time while Danny was demonstrating the custom reports to download the course report and show you exactly how it looks like. So if you click courses, and let's, for example, check this course report here. So the course report will look like this. So we have the overview, the users tab, tests, forms, surveys, assignments. So the learning activities will be broken down in different tabs. So you can check the progress. But when it comes into the unit matrix, the tab is not existing here, is not appearing here. And the reason why is because if you go on the unit matrix, you can also export it independently from the course report. And I have also downloaded that for you. So the unit matrix looks like this. And we also have the overview, which basically gives an explanation of the different coloring. So unfortunately, you will have two different type of Excels, but if you are Excel savvy, you can definitely merge it in one file after you have downloaded that from the Talent LMS. I hope this helps. Now, the next question that I'm going to answer would be from Laura. Laura is asking, can you specify a group but only send to the learner's direct supervisor? I assume that what you're looking for is having, let's say, a report about the progress of a certain group of users and schedule that report to their supervisors. Well, this is something that you can achieve in two different ways, and I will quickly show you how. However, if you have more questions, feel free to send us an email to onboarding@talentlms.com so we can elaborate more. Now, the first option is to go to groups and create a group based on the supervisor's name, like I have here. I have Anastasia's group. Just make sure that when you will create this group, you will include the courses and the users in the same group and hit the mass actions button to sync the users with the courses. And then from the group reports, you can find this report and schedule it and use the custom recipient in this case and add the supervisor's email here. The second option now would be by utilizing the custom report. So if you are in a pro plan and higher and you have this feature available, the first step you need to do is go to account and settings and from the users, go all the way down and create a custom user field under the manager where you can fill in a drop-down menu with all the supervisors' names in there. And then you can go back to reports and go to custom reports. And when you click add report, you can include in your rule set to have a report based on a custom course field, what Danny demonstrated earlier. So oops, my mistake, custom course field. So in this case, you can select the manager, type the value here, or select from the drop-down menu, fill in the rest of the rule set and the output you're looking for. And once you create this report, you can then again schedule it to the supervisor accordingly. And let me check. I think there's one more that I would like to answer before I pass the mic to Danny. Jeannie is asking, is there a way to pull a specific user's test answers to all their tests? Jeannie, again, the quick answer in here is no. If we go to test reports, for example, so basically, let me access a user report. So let's find Alexander here. From the learning activities, I can filter here by the type. But unfortunately, at this point, I cannot access the actual test and pull out the answers. The buttons that I have is to reset the progress or hit the complete button and complete the test on the user's behalf. The only way for me to access that user's report is to go to learning activities and check for each individual test report the answers of that user. So if, for example, I access this test report and click on users, let's use this one as an example, I can print, let's say, the answers from here. However, this is a very good feedback. So what I would request from your end is to send us an email to onboarding@talentlms.com so we can include that in the wish list and forward that to the department that is working with the development of the portal. And who knows, maybe your wish will come true and you will be notified. But that's a very great feedback. Thank you for that. And we're expecting your email so we can forward that accordingly. And that's it for now for me. So, Danny, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Irini. So we do have a few more questions in the Q&A. I'll just go ahead and share my screen again here because there are a few that we can work through together over here. So the first question that I had actually came from Doa. She was they're asking the features that we've been talking about today. Do they fall under basic plans? So just to kind of recap, the reports we've been showing you today are geared towards the admins, and the exception here would be the custom reports, which are available to admins on Grow plans and higher. Okay, so on your basic plan, you'll have access to the group reports, the test reports, everything that we've been showing you today as well. So you'll be able to make use of them. And of course, if you are on a Grow plan and higher, of course, you'll be able to take advantage of the custom reports as well. I hope that clarifies for you. The second question that I had came from Andrea. Andrea is looking to create like an annual review of policies where employees will have to review a file that's sent out, fill it out with their name, dates, and signatures. And Andrea is asking if we do have a specific feature that would perhaps enable us to work with this, to attach a file and maybe get the users to sign it and submit it again. So while Irini was answering questions, I did have a little play around in the system, and I had an idea that might be of use to you here. Let's go into this new course that I created. It's called Annual Review Policies. What you could do here is you could create an assignment unit. Okay, and what's special about assignment units is that your users, if you go to the assignment options, you can give your users the option to reply to this assignment by uploading a file. So if you want to go ahead and share the file with your users, and you can do that in Talent LMS as well, you can attach files to courses, you can give them the file that they need. You can then create a course with this assignment unit. And if you are exclusively using the new UI, you can also determine the reply method. So if you set it to upload a file here, you can then have your users, send you back the completed file. And the advantage of having it in a course is obviously you can track the progress, and also you can get the reporting from that as well. You remember the learning activities reports. the assignment reports that we've been looking at, you'll be able to get all of the data that you need from here as well. So this is a great way to facilitate that. I hope this helps. And yeah, this was just an idea that I had for you. Let us know if that works out for you. I hope that helps. I'm just going to go back now as we have another question that I wanted to answer live. It comes from Robert. Robert was asking if these features are reflected in the legacy UI in Talent LMS as well. The answer to that, when it comes to all of the standard reports that we've been talking about today, group reports, test reports, branch reports, the answer is yes, and including the custom reports as well. Obviously, with the update of the new UI, there might be certain things that look a bit different or appear a bit differently, but the logic is there when it comes to the reporting. So rest assured, Robert, if you are using the legacy interface at the moment, you'll still be able to drive your results data-wise the same way that we've been looking at them today. There might be a few small differences, but in essence, everything that you're looking for will be there as well. So no worries. Just moving down, I had one more question that I wanted to answer live. This one comes from Julia. Julia is cloning, wants to clone courses that can be assigned to different trainers. So I'm guessing here that you want each trainer to be responsible for a different cloned course. That makes sense. And you want to actually get a report that shows all of the progress for all of these cloned courses, if I understand correctly. What we could do is we could jump straight back into our custom reports, because I think this ties into what we were talking about earlier. And if you create like a learning progress report, and you want to see the progress, you could go with the same rule that I started before. Sorry, I'll just select that to system. You could go for the same rule, which is have started but not completed a course, for example. And here you can just type all of the cloned courses. And you remember, by adding the different courses in here, this is going to create like an OR rule. So the users, as long as they belong to one of these courses, they're going to show up. So this is a good way to perhaps collect the progress from all of these cloned courses. Okay, so you get a full sort of readout of what's going on there. And then obviously from there, you can go with mass actions if you want to. You can schedule them. You can export the report as well if needed. So I hope that helps to sort of point you in the right direction there. Irini, I don't see any other questions at the moment that can be answered
I
live. Do we
I
have
have
any that might
some,
have snuck
yeah.
in? Yeah.
Yeah. I have some because I picked up some in the meantime. That's why most probably you're not seeing them. So let me just ask you a couple of questions if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we can share, let's say, the questions. So we have a question coming from Kim. How can I see all my scheduled reports? That's a very nice question, Kim.
That is a great question, Kim. So the easiest way to do that is anywhere where you have the option to schedule a report. So for example, in the custom reports, and to be honest, in pretty much all of the reports you see in Talent LMS, uh, if you click here, you have the option to schedule. If I click on schedule, you have a separate tab here, which is all scheduled reports. And this is going to show you all of the reports you've scheduled and the type of report. So I'm in a custom report here, but I can see that I have a branch report that's been scheduled and a couple of course reports and a group report, a test report, and my training matrix as well. So all of your scheduled reports, doesn't matter which report you're looking at. If you just hop on over to that tab over there, you can get all of the info you need on these reports. And of course, it tells you the next time they're going to run as well. And if for any reason you need to deactivate or get rid of these reports, you no longer need them, you can always go ahead and delete them from this section as well. I hope that helps, Kim.
Do you want me to continue, like asking you a couple more, or do you
Yeah,
want me to take
absolutely.
over? Okay,
I can do another one, and then Irene, if you want to jump in, you
okay,
can do a couple more.
okay. So there is a question coming from Anna. Should I delete users rather than deactivate?
Mm. That is a good question. So really, Anna, you need to decide, I think, what you want with the user essentially. When you delete a user, as Irene showed us earlier, if you permanently delete a user, they're gone from your system. forever. So, if there's no need to have, any indication of that user, their progress, or anything like that, I would definitely go with the deletion option. Now, if you want to, if you need to deactivate users, that will keep them in the system, obviously, but in an inactive state. While they're deactivated, the user won't be able to log into the system. They won't be able to continue with any training, but essentially their account, their progress, and everything will get archived. It won't be permanently deleted. It will be still there in the system, just in case they come back at some time and they get activated and they want to carry on. So if you do have users that are perhaps leaving the platform temporarily, or maybe they're going to come back and complete some training later on in the year, for example, you could always deactivate them. That will free up some seats in your portal, and then you can activate them later on. So really, the choice is yours. If you want to go with the deletion or the deactivation as well. I hope that clarifies.
Great. So let me then take over and answer a couple more before we wrap up. We still have time. I hope that you do see my screen now. So Andrea just posted a follow-up question, so let's start with that. If we delete the user, can we add them back or create a new user with the same email address that has been deleted? Now, what we need to highlight here is that the Talent LMS is not accepting duplicate accounts. So what happens when we actually delete the user? The system will archive the user. So again, the history will not be appearing in the reports. But even if you simply delete the user and remains archived, the system will not allow you to create another user from scratch using the same email. You will still get the error message, the user already exists. And you might be wondering, how is this happening? I just deleted the user. Well, that's because if you go to reports, and that's an excellent follow-up question. Let me reset. Let's check where that user is archived. So user deletion. You see, I have here the list of all the users that I have deleted. So I have two options here, either to restore, and by restoring the user, I'm also restoring the history. And I can keep that user deactivated, but the history will remain if I want to, or permanently delete. And this is the step that you need to follow in order to permanently delete the user from the system and then create a brand new profile with the exact same email. I hope that helped clarify what's the difference between deleting and deactivating. Let's see. Yeah, I still have 3 minutes. So let's see. Jonathan is basically saying, I can't see my custom fields in reports. Why is that? Great question, Jonathan. Most probably the reason why you can't see the custom user fields in your reports, maybe the answer lies in the setup. So if I go to account and settings and users and go all the way down to custom user fields and click, let's say, this user field, you see this little button here visible on reports. If you have it deactivated, none of this particular custom user field will not show up in your reports. They will be like simple fields, living in the user profiles, storing information. So you definitely need to enable this option here to have those fields appearing in your reports. And I still have time for one more from Mary. Can we customize the learner's dashboards? The quick answer in this is not exactly. And let me tell you why. The customization of dashboards do not extend when it comes into learners to the level that each admin can do on their own. And also the learners cannot customize the dashboards on their own. So basically, when the learner logs in the system, by default, this is the dashboard that they will see. They will have sections here with the recent course activity, overview metrics, a timeline, the course progress in a donut chart, and some buttons here with my courses, the course catalog, etc. So what you can do in terms of customization is go to account and settings, and from the portal tab, go all the way down here. Sorry, I think I passed that. My mistake. It's here in the users, and enable the simple learners dashboard. Now, once you do that and save, if I switch as a learner really quick, this is what the learners will see. They will not have all these, sections or widgets, as we call them, with the activity and all that. They will just enter the dashboard, and the courses will be appearing here. So that's the type of customization we can do at the moment. And as I said, the learners unfortunately cannot customize the dashboards on their own. And I think that that's a wrap. So thank you all very much for, being with us today and joining this session. And thank you very much for the engagement and the questions that you have been asking. And I'm sure there will be more questions. So feel free to send us an email to onboarding@talentlms.com. And of course, we are very excited to see your comments. We do value your feedback, and this is what helps us getting better and better. And we definitely welcoming any ideas you may have for upcoming webinars. So feel free to do that by following the link posted in the chat. Again, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Anastasia and Yanis, for answering all the questions in the background. And thank you, Danny, for hosting this session with me.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure, and what a wonderful audience and great questions as well. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here today. Thank you, everybody.
Definitely, that's true. And until we meet again, like always, happy training.